The FBI spent 15 years running an illegal program that infiltrated protest groups, forged documents to start gang wars, and sent Martin Luther King Jr. a letter basically telling him to kill himself. We only know about it because a group of activists broke into an FBI office and stole the files. This is COINTELPRO. The year is 1964, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. opens a package at his home. Inside is an audio recorder and a letter. The letter calls him an evil, abnormal beast and gives him 34 days to, quote, do the right thing for him to do. The clear implication? Kill yourself or we will destroy you. The sender? The Federal Bureau of Investigation. This was official policy, part of a massive coordinated program called COINTELPRO that the FBI ran for 15 years, targeting everyone from actual Communist Party members to civil rights activists to college students protesting the Vietnam War. COINTELPRO kicked off in 1956 during peak Cold War paranoia. J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI director who wielded more power than most presidents, had a problem. The Supreme Court kept ruling that you couldn't arrest people for having unpopular political opinions. Those pesky constitutional protections kept getting in the way. So Hoover created a workaround. The Senate's Church Committee would later confirm that COINTELPRO began specifically because of, quote, frustration with Supreme Court rulings limiting the government's power to proceed overtly against dissident groups. The courts wouldn't let them prosecute dissidents legally, so they destroy them illegally. The program's mandate was to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize targets, movements, and their leaders. By the mid-1960s, the target list exploded beyond communists to include the Socialist Workers' Party, white hate groups, black nationalist groups, the New Left, student protesters, civil rights activists, women's groups, and environmentalists. The playbook involved 5 main tactics: infiltration to disrupt from within, psychological warfare to demoralize leaders, harassment through bogus legal charges, illegal force including warrantless break-ins and assaults, and assassination. Your tax dollars funded organized crime conducted by the nation's top law enforcement agency. Let's go back to that package MLK received in 1964. To understand how depraved this was, you need the context. Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy had given limited approval for wiretapping King's phone on a trial basis for a month or so. Hoover immediately extended that authorization and told his agents they were unshackled to investigate any area of King's life that they wanted. The justification involved vague claims about communist affiliations. The real motivation appeared in internal documents: prevent the rise of the Black Messiah. Dr. King fit that description perfectly. So, FBI agents wiretapped King's hotel rooms. They recorded his private life. They compiled audio and packaged it up with a letter, mailing it to his home. The letter is worth reading in full because the depravity needs to be understood. It called King an evil, abnormal beast and went on, "King, there is only one thing left for you to do. You know what it is. You have just 34 days in which to do this. You are done. There is but one way out for you. You better take it before your filthy, abnormal, fraudulent self is bared to the nation." 34 days. The number was chosen deliberately, timed to arrive before King was set to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. The message was clear: kill yourself or we'll destroy everything you've built. Some defenders tried to claim the letter merely wanted King to resign from leadership. Read that letter again. That's a suicide demand from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, sent through the U.S. mail to a civil rights leader who would later be assassinated. King's wife, Coretta, opened the package first. She listened to the recordings. She called her husband. They both knew exactly what this was. The government of the United States was trying to drive a man to suicide because he fought for Black Americans to have equal rights. King didn't kill himself. He kept fighting. 4 years later, he was murdered in Memphis. The Black Panther Party received the most intense focus of any COINTELPRO target. Of 295 documented operations against black activist groups, 233 targeted the Panthers specifically. The FBI saw them as the biggest threat to American stability, which tells you everything you need to know about what the government considered stability. One of the most horrific operations involved manufacturing a gang war. The FBI wanted to destroy the Panthers' leadership in Los Angeles. They decided the best way to do that was make another black revolutionary group do it for them. Ron Karenga led a group called United Slaves, or US. They operated in the same Los Angeles area as the Panthers. There was an existing tension between the groups over philosophy and tactics. The FBI decided to turn that tension into bloodshed. FBI agents created fake letters. They forged documents that made it look like the Panthers were threatening US members. They created other documents that made it look like US was planning to attack the Panthers. They distributed these forgeries strategically, making sure the right people saw them at the right time. On January 17, 1969, there was a meeting at UCLA about who would run the new Black Studies program. Tensions were already high. Panthers apprentice Bunchy Carter and John Huggins attended. Members of US showed up too. An argument broke out. Guns were drawn. Carter and Huggins were shot and killed. The FBI had successfully orchestrated a murder using forged documents. 2 young black men, both fighting for their community, killed by other black men who thought they were defending themselves against threats the FBI had invented. FBI agents went to work, sat at their desks, and created fake threatening letters with the explicit goal of causing violence. They succeeded. 2 men died. The FBI marked it as a successful operation. Fred Hampton was 21 years old in 1969. He was the chairman of the Chicago Black Panther Party. He was charismatic, brilliant, and effective at building coalitions. He was getting street gangs to stop fighting each other and start organizing for political change. He was feeding kids breakfast before school. He was providing free medical clinics in black neighborhoods. The FBI decided Fred Hampton needed to die. They had a man on the inside named William O'Neill. O'Neill had been arrested for car theft and impersonating a federal officer. The FBI gave him a choice: go to prison or become an informant. O'Neill chose the FBI. He infiltrated the Panthers and worked his way up through the organization until he became Fred Hampton's personal bodyguard. The person responsible for keeping Fred safe was being paid by the people who wanted him dead. In December 1969, O'Neill provided his FBI handlers with something specific: a detailed floor plan of Hampton's apartment. The floor plan marked where Fred Hampton slept, where his bed was positioned, the exact location. On December 3rd, O'Neill allegedly drugged Hampton. The drug was meant to make sure Hampton wouldn't wake easily, wouldn't be able to defend himself. At 4:45 a.m. on December 4th, 1969, State's Attorney Edward Hanrahan's men raided the apartment. They had the floor plan O'Neill provided. They knew exactly where Hampton would be. The police fired between 82 and 99 shots. The Panthers fired 1 shot, likely a reflexive nerve response after someone was hit. Hampton was shot in the shoulder. While he lay wounded in his bed, someone walked into the bedroom and shot him twice in the head at point-blank range. Hampton's girlfriend, Deborah Johnson, was 9 months pregnant. She was sleeping next to him. She survived. Years later, she would testify about what she heard that night. After the first shots, she heard someone say, "He's barely alive. He'll barely make it." 2 more shots followed. The police tried to claim the Panthers had ambushed them, that the raid was justified self-defense. Forensic evidence revealed the truth. The bullet holes, the angles, the blood spatter patterns showed this was an assassination. Subsequent legal investigations confirmed extensive FBI involvement. The floor plan, the coordination, the whole operation was designed to kill Fred Hampton, and COINTELPRO documents referred to it explicitly as a conspiracy to assassinate Fred. William O'Neill's role as an FBI informant became public in 1973. He was placed in the Federal Witness Protection Program. He lived under a new identity for years, but in 1989, he returned to Chicago. Documentary filmmaker Eyes on the Prize tracked him down and interviewed him about his betrayal. The first episode of that documentary aired on January 15, 1990. That night, William O'Neill ran onto the Eisenhower Expressway in Chicago and was struck by a car. He died instantly. The medical examiner ruled it a suicide. O'Neill had told the filmmakers during his interview that he had tried to live with what he had done, that he tried to justify it, that he'd taken the FBI's money and told himself he was doing the right thing. 20 years later, the night his betrayal was broadcast to the world, he ran into traffic. COINTELPRO only ended because activists broke the law. On March 8, 1971, 8 activists broke into an FBI field office in Media, Pennsylvania, and stole over 1,000 classified documents. They called themselves the Citizens Commission to investigate the FBI. They sent the documents to newspapers. The Washington Post ran a front-page story on March 24, 1971, revealing the surveillance, infiltration, psychological warfare, and coordination with local police to assault and murder activists. Public outrage forced Hoover to terminate COINTELPRO later that year. The activists stayed anonymous for over 40 years, revealing themselves in 2014 after the statute of limitations expired. The 1975 Church Committee confirmed COINTELPRO had systematically violated constitutional rights for 15 years. The FBI apologized in 1974. The tactics continued. After 9/11, the U.S. Patriot Act dismantled safeguards meant to prevent other COINTELPRO. Muslim American communities faced the same infiltration tactics. We only know about COINTELPRO because 8 people broke into an office and stole files.